Hello, today we are going to talk about the traffic insurance and obligations related with that. So, what is comprehensive traffic insurance and what is the reason to have it, basically? So, as you might already know, every car driving on the public roads, like any casual roads or highways or city roads, they all need to have this traffic insurance policy. So the reason to have it that if you have an accident, especially if you are not guilty in that accident, then you will get recovered by the traffic insurance company, and the damage you have for your car also will be compensated in that case. So you don't have to pay for basically for this damage, and the other cars or drivers insurance company will be paying basically for this damage and compensating this damage. So basically it's mandatory to have it in Estonia, and even if you don't have it, of course you should consider that you can get a penalty even for that from police department or for policemen. So that's why it's mandatory to have it, and as soon as you buy a car, you always have to check that you have this insurance on your car registered. If it's not, then you have to make it, and I will show you later how to make it online, for example. So it's quite easy and not problematic. Basically, you also should understand that some vehicles you don't have to insure. Yeah, and now we are going to discuss it. Which vehicles exactly we have to insure if we have this vehicle. So, as I said before, if you use some public roads and driving on the casual roads in the city, on the highways, and basically use this government-built roads, then insurance has to be on your car and you have to insure it, basically. As soon as you use your vehicle somewhere off-road, in the forest maybe, or maybe you're driving somewhere, I don't know, like some races, tracks and stuff like that. So maybe rally racings or motocross. So in that case, of course, you don't have to insure your car. So because you are not using public roads in that case. And in all other situations and circumstances, of course, you have to make an insurance. So you should consider every vehicle. So it can be motorcycle, it can be truck, it can be bus, it can be lorry, it can be casual car. So all these cars, they have to, or vehicles, they have to be definitely insured if you use the public roads. So how do you think if it's necessary to have an insurance on the trailer? So of course, trailer is additional vehicle. So basically, if you are having a trailer, it means you are driving two vehicles at one moment. And basically, if you have some accident and another car will hit your trailer and you are not guilty in that accident, so someone have to cover these damages and someone has to compensate that. And that's why it's also necessary to have insurance on the trailer. Usually, trailers, they even have additional registration plate. They have additional lights. So all as casual car has. And that's why when you are carrying, let's say, the trailer, it means you are carrying two different vehicles. You have to make an insurance on both these vehicles, so car and trailer. Basically, it's mostly for defending yourself, and then your damage will be compensated in the case of accident. And the same logic if you hit someone with your trailer. So if another person has an insurance, then your insurance company will basically cover this damage. As soon as you have an accident and you are guilty in this accident, so you should consider that your payment fees for insurance will be increased. So that's the only thing happens when you have accidents. Of course, the more you have to pay monthly or yearly for this insurance fees or payments. And here we also have a question regarding the towing a car. So if you are taking some car behind and the car behind is broken, so of course this car cannot drive. So if it's necessary to have insurance for this car in that case, so of course it is. So as I explained on the previous slide, you should understand that it's also a vehicle. So if something happens with the vehicle you are towing at the moment, also someone or some company have to cover the expenses in that case. So if you are making that even for 30 minutes or 15 minutes, so small amount of time, you still have to make an insurance policy on that car. So it doesn't matter if you need to drive maybe 10 meters even. So it still should be on it. And you should consider that as soon as you use the public roads, you have to make an insurance on any car, even if you are towing this car. So for now, we're going to discuss different insurance cases. So how do you think in that case, if it's insurance case or not? So of course not, because as you remember, at least we consider an accident only if at least one car was moving and it happens with another car or maybe pedestrian. So if it's a natural disaster, like in that case, it's not insurance case, and of course damage will not be compensated by your insurance company. I will explain you later what exactly you have to do to avoid this kind of situations, for like vandalism or natural disasters, or maybe some other thing can happen with your car, you never know, so we will talk about that later today. In that case, of course, it's an insurance case because one car hit a pedestrian or cyclists. So in that case, your insurance company will compensate the damage to him and also his health condition expenses as well in the hospital, for example. Here we can see the scratch on the glass. We also can consider that it's vandalism or natural disaster. In that case, insurance company will not compensate that. Here we can see that two cars are parked right nearby and one car hit another car with the door. So in that case, also we should consider that it's an insurance case. And of course, if you hit someone with the door, your insurance company will have to compensate that damage. So when insurance event shall not include loss or damage caused in the vehicle, including an air or watercraft, except when driving onto or off a ferry operating scheduled services. So basically, if you are using some crafts, water or aircrafts without any operating scheduled services, then any accident on that craft will not be compensated. Your damage on that craft will not be compensated. But if you're using some scheduled services, for example, if you use Tallinn or Sea Line, this ships operating between Helsinki, Tallinn and Stockholm, so it's like casual bus service, we can say. In that case, of course, the damage caused on this craft will be covered by the insurance company. So you should consider that. At a location closed or sequestered for a competition, a training session, or other similar event. So here you should understand if you use your car for driving somewhere off-road or on special sport tracks, just testing this car, and if you will have some damage during this competition, damage will not be compensated by the insurance company. On the grounds of aerodrome close to public traffic. So if you are driving on the aerodrome for aircrafts and basically it's not allowed to drive there, it's not public place for driving. In that case also insurance will not compensate any damage if you have an accident there. Now we should discuss traffic insurance and contract. So we should understand who can make an insurance contract on the property, in that case car or motorcycle, for example. Basically you should know that any person can make an insurance on your car or on your motorcycle, for example. So any vehicle can be insured by any person. Also, you can make a contract, as I already mentioned before, even for one day. If you need to transport your broken car to somewhere, for example, for one day or for 1 year. So it's the maximum. And if you make for 1 year and when it's going to be expired, you just need to renew the contract. Also, when you make a contract, you will receive a policy. And if you want to travel somewhere abroad, you also can request for the green card. And this green card is for free. Here you can see how the traffic insurance policy looks like and contract is the same. So basically all information is here. Also the name, the one who buy this insurance, and some additional information, some requirements, the payment details, and all the things are mentioned here. You also should consider if you have a car but another person make an insurance on your car and make a contract, so he will be responsible for all this accidents, not responsible for making some rules not correctly, so you still will be responsible for that, but as you're another person who making this insurance, he will basically need to pay more after that, as I said before. So the price and fees will be increased in that case, and this person should pay more in that case also. Early termination of the contract. So when you can terminate the contract. The insurance contract is concluded for a period of up to 1 year, but when the vehicle is removed from the motor register, it automatically ends. So, of course, if you remove your car from the road register and you still have an insurance on that car, but when it's officially removed from there, your contract will be ended, and if you paid some amount of money in advance, it will be returned to you. When a car is sold abroad or due to age and poor technical condition, it's handed over for scrap. The vehicle is removed from the motor register. Basically, if you sell your car or you want to, go to the wasteland somewhere and leave it there and sell it also for like just metal parts, for example, it's also is going to be removed from the register automatically, and you will receive the compensation, the money you paid back to your account. And also, if you do not use your vehicle for some time, you can temporarily remove it from the register. Then you will not have to undergo roadworthiness test and insure the vehicle. So basically, you can temporarily also remove. So there are two options in the road register to remove your car. So you can remove it forever or temporarily. For example, if you're not using your car because you're in the race all the time for a few months, so it's logical to remove it temporarily, and then you don't have to pass every year, once per year, this technical check, and you don't have to make an insurance. We also will talk on the next lessons what exactly means this technical check, how to make it, but you should remember that this is the thing that is also mandatory to have this technical check once per year. If you pass it, you can continue driving. If you're not passing, then you have to check your car to fix something and then pass it again, and if it's so good, then you can continue driving. If you cannot use your vehicle, for example, it was stolen from you, or for technical reasons it cannot be used for more than a month, then you can unilaterally terminate the insurance contract ahead of schedule as well. So is it necessary to have a traffic insurance policy always with you? So now we are going to discuss when exactly you have to use it. Here we can see the map and what documents you need to carry with you when you are traveling, for example. So the blue countries on the map, it means you need a policy. If you are going to some green area countries, then you need to have a green card. So basically, green card is also the same thing as a policy, but it's also translated in all European and not European languages, just to confirm that you have insurance on your car. So if you get an accident in some other country, your insurance have to compensate the damage, or your insurance company have to communicate with the local country insurance company, and then someone will compensate the damage if you have an accident. Also, we should consider that there are two types of compensated damage. Basically, one is proprietary, for example, damage to a car, and non-proprietary, so damage to some person, so damage to health. For example, if you hit the bicyclists, it's non-proprietary damage. If you hit the car, then it's proprietary damage. How this damage can be compensated and in what cases? The victim in an accident is reimbursed for both types of damage. So if you are a victim of the accident, you will get compensated for your health condition if you had bad health condition after the accident, and also damage to your property, for example, your car. Non-proprietary damage to the pedestrian if he is a victim. So if pedestrian was a victim, you hit the pedestrian, your insurance will cover this damage. The culprit of the accident is reimbursed only for the cost of the treatment in the hospital if he gets there. So if you are guilty in the accident, you will have a damage to your car and your health, so you will be compensated only for your health condition if you got to the hospital. But car damage, of course, will be not compensated. And also later I will talk about it more in detail, so I will explain how you can still compensate this damage if you are guilty in the accident. Pecuniary damage will not be reimbursed if the culprit of the accident cannot be identified. For example, if you don't have an ID card with you or a driving license, or another person just left the accident in some reason, police has to catch it first. And in that case, damage will not be compensated. The damage caused due to the fact that the owner was not able to use his vehicle is not compensated. So if you're not having a license, you have an insurance, but you don't have a license to drive a car. Or if, for example, you're drunk or something, so in that case, if you had an accident, of course, the damage will not be compensated. If you had the traffic accident, you have to immediately report about the traffic accident to the police or insurance company. I recommend you usually to first of all to inform your insurance company, and then after that, if needed, you can call the police. You must keep a vehicle in a post-accident condition next 7-15 days. So if the police will require to observe or investigate the scene, in that case, so they can request you to leave your car in the same condition and not to fix it sooner. So you also should consider that as well. So factors affecting the amount of motor insurance price. It's traffic accident history. So if you personally or the car is having a lot of accidents, then of course the price for the future insurance contracts will be higher. Power of the engine. If you have a sport car, it means you are more risky. In that case, price is going to be bigger, of course. Area of the vehicle registration. So if your car is registered in Tallinn, it's quite big city here, the capital, so more accidents happens there. If you register your car somewhere on the islands, for example, Saaremaa or Hiiumaa, where you have less traffic, less cars, so in that case, the price is going to be less, of course, because it's not so risky as in Tallinn. Age of the car owner. So if you're a junior driver, you're too fresh, it means you're not having experience, and of course you are more risky. And the same logic works if you are too old driver. The same, your reaction is too slow, can be, and basically your condition can be also not so good, and that's why price for you can be higher in that case. And car brand. It depends. Some cars are also quite expensive, and the repairment for this car also costs a lot, and that's why if you have, for example, Ferrari or Lamborghini, in that case also insurance price will be much higher than casual car. And now we are going to check some links and how to make the registration correctly, how to make insurance contract. I will show you. So here I will show you the insurance site where you can observe all the companies in Estonia, and it will be easier for you to choose the cheapest one and make an insurance contract. So let's get started. So I will leave this link for the website below the video so you can check it later, and I will show you how it works. So start insuring. Here you can just put some random car number, the one you want to buy maybe, or the one you own, and then we start the process, and you can find, just need to wait a bit. So finally the screen was uploaded, and now we can check the dates when we want to make it and what usage we should choose also. So starting date, for example, today. Of course the year is not correct, so we have to choose, I guess, the 20, it doesn't matter actually in that case, so we just choose like driving school, rent, emergency vehicles, but we have ordinary usage, for example. But if you're a taxi driver, also they must request more fees for that. So we take ordinary usage, time is not very important now, so we can make it. And here you can see different companies. First of all, of course, this website is offering some insurance packages, but we can scroll down and then we see different companies like Ergo, Pesu, BTA, Inges, Salva. So you can see and compare different prices. So in that case, Ergo will be the cheapest one, and then you can order an insurance here. What is the difference between traffic insurance and Casco? So for now we can talk about additional insurance. We call it Casco. You remember we were talking about different accidents, and you are guilty in that accident, so you still have to cover the damages that you have, because your insurance will not cover that if you are guilty in the accident. So in that case, you can make additional insurance contract. We call it Casco, and Casco will basically cover, in that case, all the damages that you had on the car. It also depends on the contract that you have, that mostly like vandalism or natural disasters, they also can cover it, and your car will be repaired and you don't have to pay the full amount. So let's say you have a damage for 10,000 euros, but you have Casco insurance, it will cost you only self-payment fees, we call it, 200 euros. So also depends on the contract. The self-payment fees can be 300, can be 400, depending on the vehicle as well. But if you have a damage, you just pay this self-payment fees, 200, 300 or 400 euros, for example, and your car will be repaired. So you don't have to pay all this 10,000 euros amount of money. So basically, of course, Casco also costs a little bit more than casual insurance, and it's quite important to notice that and mention that. So in that case, you should consider that you are paying for insurance and additionally for Casco. So you have two insurances, and they are both, in that case, mandatory to be paid. So now I hope it was more or less clear for you how to use these insurances, and all good and clear with that now. Thank you for watching this video. Hopefully this traffic insurance obligations and all the procedures were more or less clear for you, and hopefully you will be safe in future. And see you on the next lesson. Goodbye.